Okay, I have 9 o'clock. So we will call the Harrison County Commission meeting for September the 14th to order. If you will rise and join me in the invocation and pledge, please. Lord, we would follow you wherever you might lead. Lord, we would follow you. Forgive us when we stumble and when we stray. Forgive us when distracted, we lose our way. Be the one to whom we turn, whose hand we hold, the shepherd who leads us safely to the fold. Lord, we would follow you wherever you might lead. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is there anyone signed up to speak, Johnny?
Yes.
You don't need to sign.
Okay.
Is there anyone on Zoom that wishes to speak publicly? Anyone on Zoom wish to speak publicly? Hearing none, we will move on to the consent agenda. What's the pleasure?
Motion approved, please.
Motion to approve consent agenda. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 3, payroll change through D.
Motion approved A through D, please.
Motion to approve A through D under number 3. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. There are no minutes or amended minutes. Is that correct under number 4?
That is correct.
Number 5, requisitions, purchase orders, invoices as shown on vendor list A. It's a pleasure.
Motion approved, please.
Motion to approve number 5A. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Number 6, exoneration corrective tickets, joint property applications as shown on A and B. A, exonerations, B, corrective tickets. Exhibit A and B. It's a pleasure.
Motion approved, please.
Motion to approve 6A and B.
Yes.
And any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 7, consideration of approval of a project fund requisition for the payment of costs associated with the project to be financed from proceeds of the Series 2019 bonds issued for the Charles Point Economic Opportunity Development District Series 2021A and B, Development District number 3, White Oaks, Project number 2, and Series 2008A, Charles Point Project number 2, Northland Bay Improvements. We have requisitions A, B, and C.
Motion approved A, B, and C, please.
Motion to approve A, B, and C under number 7. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 8, we have none under number 8. Is that correct? Correct. Okay. Number 9, review, discuss, consider request from Greater Harrison for the ARPA fund disbursements, A, Locust Heights booster pump station, and B, bar screen replacement.
Motion approved A and B, please.
Motion to approve A and B under 9. Is there any discussion?
Staff, has everything been presented that needs to be for these payments?
Yes.
Anything further? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Right.
Review, discuss, consider confirmation of report of fiduciary commissioner regarding objections files to settlement of estate of Robbie Annabelle Coogan.
Motion approved, Commissioner Coogan.
Motion to approve the confirmation.
Yeah.
Is there any discussion to this? What this is it went to the fiduciary commission and we're just confirming his recommendation. Correct. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None. Motion carried. I have 9:05 and I believe we have a proclamation to be presented at 9:05. Whoever wants to come up with him? On over.
Or you get first.
You want to play this?
I'm gonna let you hold this.
All right. Ron, was this your doing? Ron,
What?
wasn't this your?
It's all his fault.
You can blame him.
Yeah, blame, yeah, they can blame me, yeah.
You want
Hey,
to step up here, step up here.
We just want to make sure that everybody knows that, Eddie is the main headline for the Lost Creek Festival this weekend, but more so than that, he's an ambassador for our area and, with his music for all these years. And we just talked to one of the security guys downstairs. Eddie actually, the big thing that I found out about him as we was doing the research is that he had a scholarship to West Virginia University for voice and whatever. I know it's going to be part of the proclamation there. So anyway.
You're welcome to join us.
Well, I will.
Yeah, get up there
Thank
and
you.
do that.
Thank you.
Ron, you want me to picture?
Thank you.
Anybody else? Join you if you want to.
Get in there beside this young lady.
Okay. Whereas Charles Edward Eddie Davison was born in St. Mary's Hospital, Clarksburg, West Virginia, on August 31st, happy birthday, belated by the way, 1953, to Henry and Frances Davison. He has 3 brothers and 6 sisters, and they were raised on the Big Rock Camp area of the Sardis community. And whereas Eddie's parents and grandparents were all musically inclined, and from the age of 7, you could find Eddie on Saturday nights with his dad playing music somewhere in the area. And then on Sundays, Eddie was at church with his mom singing the best of hymns. And whereas Eddie graduated from Victory High School, class of 1971, and attended West Virginia University on a vocal scholarship that Ron just spoke about. And whereas in addition to his full-time employment, Eddie continued to play music on the weekends and special occasions. And whereas on April 28, 1975, Eddie married Donna Webb, and their family consists of 4 children and 7 grandchildren. And whereas Eddie's influence has inspired his children and grandchildren to so pursue their musical and entertainment talents. And whereas the Davison family has shared their musical talents throughout the world and have never forgotten their roots. And whereas Eddie Davison's bio includes country, rock and roll, and blues music, and a strong guitar and vocals with an amazing stage presence. And whereas it is only fitting that the 25th anniversary of the Lost Creek Community Festival on September 17th, 2022 is presenting Eddie Davison a family tradition. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the Harrison County Commission does hereby proclaim Saturday, September 17th, 2022 as Eddie Davison Day throughout Harrison County in recognition as a true Harrison Countyan, and thank him for giving us the many years of pleasurable entertainment passed by the County Commission of Harrison County, West Virginia. Actually, it's on this is 17th day of September 2022.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad I kept my health and kept going on. And what's 3 generations that's before, that's been where I was at. So I agree. Look at them. These boys are so talented. They make me cry. Wasn't right. This lovely little lady here for putting up with this.
Anybody else want to say anything? I don't want to stop you. Sorry.
No, I'm done. All right.
Johnny, did you get some good pictures? Good. Of
Thank you
Eddie and the
so
family.
much.
Not a paper knot.
Yes, sir.
That's all right. Doing fine. You doing all right? Good.
Good to see you, John. Miss you.
Take care.
You'll be seeing. Thank you, everybody.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And Laura. Thank you, Susan.
You got,
Bye, Ron.
Following you.
What are you doing?
okay, we have a 9:10 public nuisance, Cindy Adams of Enterprise.
Come on up, Cindy. Come on up here so we can state your name and get this ball moving for you. Hey Cindy, will you tell us your name?
Cindy Adams.
Charlotte, you want to give us some background?
Yeah, we wrote around.
First off, I want to make sure, well, she's here, so she got notice. Never mind. Go ahead.
Yes. We've gone through the whole entire process and now we're at the hearings stage of this. We notified her in February that it needed to be cleaned up. I do believe that they have moved their camper. But I mean, I talked to the guys yesterday and they said nothing else has been done. She's been served, the process server. She's been notified by certified mail. Don't really know what else to do.
You don't have any more recent pictures than the ones here we have from February, is that correct?
No, it looks just like that, except for the camper's home.
Anything, Cindy, that you can do to help us?
Yeah, the only thing that I received was July 8th, a letter notice of the hearing, and then August 22nd, I guess the time changed. But yeah, the camper's gone, the trailer over there with the garbage, the camper top is gone. I'm getting it cleaned up. I have papers where I've taken the garbage to the landfill. I'm in the process of moving from one house to another right now. And me and my husband was buying a house in Clarksburg, and then in September, he got COVID. Well, we both did, and he passed away. And I ended up with COVID again, so I'm not able to work. So I'm pretty much losing the home in Clarksburg and going back to Enterprise. So I'm in between two houses trying to.
Can you give us a ballpark idea how long you think it'd take you to clean that up? And be fair with us so we can be fair with you.
Honestly, probably a month at least.
If we gave you 40 days and Charlotte went back out to the planning commission, and could we see significant improvement?
Yes. 40
Promise?
days.
You promise?
Yes,
All right, I promise you we'll give you 40 days.
thank you.
Madam President, motion to extend her out to 40 days and then revisit, please.
Okay, motion's been made to give Ms. Adams 40 more days to get this cleaned up a little bit more.
We don't want it to go to the judge,
Yeah,
and that's what we're trying to avoid. And if you're gonna move back in there, you gotta clean it up anyway.
yeah,
In 40 days, that'll give you plenty of time before that.
okay.
Is there any
All right.
discussion on that?
No.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, hearing none. You have 40 days.
Good luck, Cindy.
Yes, good luck. At 9:15, we have another public nuisance. Anthony Butcher of Enterprise. Mr. Butcher.
They called yesterday. She said the entire house had COVID and, that they had cleaned it up anyway. And I actually sent Robert out this morning to go take pictures for me to make sure that all of it was cleaned up.
Motion to table and carry over to next meeting, please.
Motion to table and carry over to next meeting. Any discussion?
Was it cleaned up?
Robert's out right now looking to see.
I mean, if it is, if you're happy with it, I don't, is there any need to?
Not even put on the agenda. If you're happy, Charlotte, if you're unhappy, then we'll do it.
Okay,
So we'll just table.
yeah, okay. I'm wait till I see Robert and he'll let me know.
And then if it's not, then we can take it off the table.
Yep.
Okay, motion to table the 9:15 public nuisance for Anthony Butcher of Enterprise. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Review, discuss, consider time and date for trick or treat.
On the calendar, October 31st is a Monday. It would be my recommendation that we set the time and date for trick or treat Monday, October 31st from 6 to 7:30 PM.
Motion approved as stated by the administrator.
Motion to approve the trick or treat day and time as stated by the administrator, which was October 31st from 6 to 7:30. Is that correct? The only question I have, I mean, is that what the other, do we know what municipalities are doing?
They're all waiting for us,
Oh, okay,
pretty much.
okay. That's all I have. Any further discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Review, discuss, make part of record West Virginia Economic Development Authority Loan Funding Program.
Motion to motion to make part of the record, please.
Okay, motion's been made to make part of the record. Do you have any information, Laura, that you'd like to share?
There's an announcement from the Economic Development Authority in Charleston, just saying that there are funding programs out there for manufacturers and everything like that. So we just wanted to make it part of the record that we know about it, and we can distribute this information to current business owners or
Put it on
some
the
that
web, I mean, put it on
And
the
that's the same
website
thing.
and Facebook.
And that's the same thing for 13 too. Make a motion, but make it part of the record as well, right?
yes.
What's that?
Let's do 12. Any discussion on 12? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, number 13, review, discuss, and make part of the record petition of citizens of Haywood in opposition of being annexed or incorporated by any town.
Motion to make part of the record.
Motion to make part of the record. Laura, would you like to?
Can I see the petition, please?
Yes, well, I am not aware of anyone that is looking to incorporate or annex Haywood. They did ask that we acknowledge this, so that's why it's on the agenda to make part of the record.
I've been advised by people in the community that Shinston's been looking at it.
And just so we can all know, they've been looking at it for the past 75 years. So this is
Now,
no,
but I also understand that there's been people within the county that's been working with the city of Shinston.
who would that be?
I'm not naming names. I've just what the people from Haywood have said to me. I've had several phone calls about this.
I haven't had a single phone call. Susan, Laura,
No, and I've asked around.
and I live in Shinston. I haven't heard a thing about it. But we'll adopt in record, motion to adopt on record, please.
Any further discussion?
They've asked for action.
What kind of action do you take unless there's been anything
I'm
done?
asking if there's any action that we can take.
We can Look into that.
Not according to Mr. Zimmer, until something actually official
So
would take place.
Mr. Zimmerman has seen this. Is he here today to tell us what we can do?
No,
He is not available today.
So does somebody from the commission talk to Mr. Zimmerman?
Him and I discussed it.
And he said,
He is not aware of anyone trying to incorporate that as well. And he said just adopt and make it part of the record. Until something transpires, there's nothing really that we can do. Talk is just talk.
Other than reaching out this instance to make sure that that's not the case. Something I know of.
any more discussion on hearsay?
so we can't adopt something, let the people know that we're not going to force them into any type of annexation, but this commission is not going to approve it.
I don't know that we can get into that at this point in time, and I think you'd have to wait till they went through the proper steps to be annexed before anybody states anything. I mean, I'm not an attorney, but
And I think from what I understand is that we're not gonna make a motion or adopt something on idle chatter. This is hearsay.
Right, and if there is talk about it, we don't know the details, so it's hard to make a stance on something when you really don't know the details behind it. But by making it part of record, we are aware of their concerns, so if something does pop up in the future, then we can address it at that point in time, but there's no reason making a motion to do something, to stop something that is just talk.
Like a copy of that, so I can contact those people and understand why they feel the need to have a petition to stop annexation. I think it's hard.
okay, all in favor of number 13, being part of today's record? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, hearing none, motion carried. It is 9:22, and I believe we have a 9:20 funding request. Is that correct? Yes. Funding request, Harrison County Livestock Association, Fred Law. Fred, you want to,
Want me to sit or stand here?
whatever you makes you comfortable.
I'm fine. staying. My name is Fred Law. I've been part of the community of Harrison County all my life. Been a part of 4-H pretty much all my life since 8 years old. I'm a past Boy Scout leader, and I'm actually secretary of the Harrison County Livestock Association. So we started this organization about 3-4 years ago. And the purpose of the organization itself, Harrison County Livestock Association, is to educate kids, both in 4-H and FFA, to learn more about agriculture. I appreciate your support in the past for Harrison County Livestock Association. And coming up here, September 24th, we're actually having our annual show and sale. Actually, first time we're actually having a sale. We've always had a show in Harrison County. Actually, I used to participate in the show, showing the dairy kids when I was a young kid. But we've never had the opportunity to actually do a sale. This year is the first time we're having a sale. And because of that, we actually have more kids involved and we have more animals involved. So because of more presence at the show this year, we're expanding. So we've always used the Summit Park location. We've used the pavilion up there and we've put gates around it to basically hold the livestock in. Because we're having more animals this year and kids, we need a tent. And so we are actually going to obtain the tent from the Mountain State Event Solutions, and they've actually cut us a good deal. And we're getting 2 20x40 tents, and to make up 1 40x40 tent. We're going to be able to put a pole in the middle, and we're going to be able to put the animals on one side and have a show ring on the other side. But for safety purposes, we're still going to have to put panels around, and we're going to be able to borrow those from the Tractor Supply. And actually Braxton County is going to be lending us their show ring. So it's all community support and helping this. So in order to purchase a tent or rent a tent, it's actually $1,550.
How about we give it to you?
I appreciate that.
Motion approved,
Thank you.
$1,500.
Thank you.
Mr.
Motion.
Wall, thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
This
Appreciate it.
this is wonderful for our children. It's exciting.
Motion to approve the $1,500 request. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Thank you for your support.
Hearing none, motion carried.
No, thank you for what you do. We don't do that.
You guys do a lot.
Susan, if I may, 1 second. Mr. Law, if you would get us a flyer or something for the event, we'd be
Yeah.
happy to put it on the Harrison County Facebook page.
Very
and
good.
Support it.
I can do that.
And we'll get the rest of the paperwork.
Yes. We have the FIEN number and everything else in the office.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, number 14, review, discuss, consider and approve agreement with Clarksburg Parks Commission for ice rink, pickleball courts and pavilion.
Currently, there's no agreement with Clarksburg. There's not one to review or anything. They are in the process of doing a feasibility study. I believe Thrasher is the one that might be heading that up, but until they come back with their feasibility study, there's no contract to enter into an agreement. There's no pricing to talk about or anything, so I don't have anything that we can discuss for this agenda item.
Madam President, do we need to table this until further information comes in?
I'd like to discuss why we haven't been able to come up with something on our end on what we're committing and to come up with what we're going to do. Not based upon their feasibility, what's feasible for the county to afford to do. So why are we not going forward with what we're going to commit to and put it to writing? That way they know what they can do feasibility wise, instead of waiting around. That way we know what our costs are going to be in the future.
Well, I can't do anything with it, David, until we find out what the total cost of the youth barn is and the bridge crossing, the crossing connecting Clarksburg and Spilker.
So
So,
we've already committed to help pay for these items.
right, but we also have to see, we have 2 projects that we're in the middle of right now, that we
Well,
have
we
to see
have
what they come
3
in.
projects. We also use that money for tearing down houses.
No, that's a line item, that's within the budget, in the planning department.
If we go back through the minutes, you guys, that was for tearing down houses too.
But there's $150,000 in the planning department for that, that we haven't ever reached the total amount as of yet over the past 4 years. So right now, our worry right now is connecting Spelter to Clarksburg, which we're already working on through Thrasher Engineering, as well as the youth complex. So until we find out what those totals are, so we know we don't overspend money as we have in the past, and we actually know what money we have left, then we'll have to work on that.
And where we overspent money in the past, Mr. Treehouse.
Well, we just built a building. Supposed to 100, it's going to put us $30 million in debt over the next 20 years. And we
I,
did-
for one, am not comfortable committing money and we don't know how much the whole project's going to be.
Right.
I think that's the bottom line.
We can't commit money, Madam President, until we know what projects we already have started are going to
I mean, I
cost.
think it's a great
Again, I'm
project for us to
confused.
work with Clarksburg with, but I
First
think we have to.
project was with Clarksburg. We brought them in, we told them we were going to jointly build pickleball courts, ice skating rink, and a pavilion.
And they haven't came back to us with any information, sir.
Okay, so why can't we go ahead and budget and make an agreement and go on and then how much money we're gonna have to spend on other projects?
Well, because we're not going to put the cart before the horse as we have in the past. And we're not going to allocate money to something when we don't know how much the 2 projects right now that we're working on are going to cost. I don't need to give you a better example than we build a building and now we don't know how to tear down the building that we said was falling over, that we were replacing it for.
I'm not sure I understand that one either.
You do understand that.
No, I
You
don't.
wanted a new annex.
I wasn't the only one that wanted.
You
to do
wanted a
that.
new annex because you said the one that we have was falling over. Now we have a $30 million building and we do not have 1 red cent to tear down the building that was so-called falling over that will still be standing when I'm in Holy Cross Cemetery.
Patsy, I wish you understood.
I do wish you understood that you don't spend money you don't have.
Really?
I'm
That's
glad-
that's the
I'm gl-
route you want to go down today?
That
You
is the
wanna
route I want to
discuss
go
it?
down right now. I'm
Okay, I
glad
think
that-
that now I
yeah.
see, now I see the intent of all this.
Yeah,
Oh, what's the
Um,
intent? I just want to
I'm
make sure we have. know
I'm
what
not gonna
Parks and
follow
Recs are
down,
gonna have.
down your path.
Oh.
I mean, I'm gonna say, I mean, yes, it is. Yes, it is. We build a building, you build a building.
I
you-
didn't
you-
build a building. Like, if you all accuse me of that one more
Okay.
time. it
No,
was
no,
the
let's
county
not-
Hey, let me
commission.
speak.
No, it's the county commission. You're
Okay.
not gonna sit there and
Okay.
put that building on
What's the
me.
pleasure?
100% on you.
It was the county commission. that
Not
did
one
that
person
building.
came and spoke in favor of that building but you.
I don't care
Nobody
about,
came and
Okay,
spoke in
just let-
favor of rail trails, Patsy, but you paved them.
No, but the roll trails are packed because of it.
They're packed. Yeah, I know.
okay, that's it, guys. That's it. I'm gonna speak. You, the county commission, if that makes you feel better.
No, ma'am, we're talking
Okay,
about.
no, we're not. No, you brought this all up. You guys
brought
started
up
this, so I'm
about
gonna
doing the
finish.
Parks and Recs over in.
You
VA
have,
Park.
this commission, previous commissions have done projects and didn't plan ahead.
Nothing.
And that's, I mean, we don't even know what we're gonna do with this building if we ever get into the new building. Then, now you're talking imploding the annex. What are you gonna do
We still
with
need
the
a jail
magistrate court, the family court,
And jail.
and a jail? You still have to have a holding cell. Okay, what's the pleasure on?
To carry over until
Oh, no, we're still reviewing, discussing, consider the pickleball.
there's nothing.
Yes,
to
ma'am.
review or
And now,
discuss.
okay, I agree. There's nothing on
Well,
14
we're
or
committing
15.
to it.
We are committed to it, but we're also going to finish the projects we've started. And I say again, not put the cart before the horse anymore on the Harrison County Court Commission.
It's amazing how this pickleball court and all that stuff's changed in the last 4 months.
It hasn't changed a bit. We're
Okay.
just waiting for numbers to come in like we're supposed to, being responsible. I'm really glad that in election year, you became conservative Dave while you spent $39 million in your first 5 years.
Oh, Patsy, you're so full of BS. That's not funny.
Now I speak factual.
No, you don't.
Okay, what's the pleasure on number 14?
To carry over till further notice.
Motion to carry over till further notice. Do we want to put that on the tabled items?
Please.
Okay, motion to table number 14. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
No.
Okay, please note the opposition, motion carried. Number 15, it's basically the same as 14. What's the pleasure?
I'd like to make a motion that Harrison County only commit 200,000 a year during the term of the levy.
Okay, motion's been made to allocate $200,000.
And I'll make a motion to carry over until we have
Okay, the motion's been made to table
full numbers.
until we have actual numbers. Any discussion?
And Madam, add to that actual numbers from what our projects that Thrasher Engineering is working on presently. So we actually know how much money we have left over for our new 5-year program that the citizens vote on, that 2 of us voted for and 1 of us voted against in the first place.
Motion as stated by Commissioner Treecost. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
No,
Okay, now we'll take up Mr. Hinkle's motion to allocate $200,000. Did you say per year for that?
yes, ma'am.
Okay, is there any further discussion?
No, ma'am.
Okay, hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? No.
No.
Okay, motion failed. Number 17, review, discuss, consider, and approve
No,
reimbursement from,
ma'am. 16.
review, discuss, consider private rail trail property and any agreements.
Currently, there are no agreements to execute. I am negotiating with CSX. Thrasher is negotiating with another private entity, so we can hopefully have an agreement to execute and move forward.
Who's Thrasher negotiating with?
Thrasher is talking
To a
to,
private resident in Meadowbrook.
Is that between Spelter and Shinston, or is that between Shinston and our existing part of our trail. It'd be nice to know what we're talking about. There's several sections that we discussed. I'm just curious.
Chad, would you like to address this?
It's both, David, and primarily more from Spelter to power plant is primarily who I've been negotiating with. From the power plant to Shinston, I've done a little, but not a lot on that particular.
And do we have money in place for the property from Stelter to Shinston?
We've applied for the grants for that, yes, that included that property acquisition. And as far as the, I can't remember, there's been so many different funding applications, but I believe Shelley Moore Capital supported that, and I think that was one of her earmarks. if I'm not
Or
mistaken.
did we not get money from the state to purchase some of that property?
Yes, we did.
And did
We
we,
still have it.
so then who's doing that negotiations?
We have those funds there to use if we need to use it for the CSX acquisition.
So
or
it's
this
not
other-
gonna be used for the original gentleman that we wanted to buy from.
My understanding from Charlotte is the state said we can use it for each of the properties, whichever one that we would like to designate it for, is my understanding. Correct, Charlotte?
Can we designate one person? It seems we have multiple people dealing with all these people. And no offense, Chad, but you really, unless we authorized you to negotiate for us, you really can't negotiate for us.
It's not really negotiating, I'm just trying to find the right path to move it forward so that you
On
can.
private property.
It is private property on some of it, yes. Some of it's owned, from Shinston to the power plant, some of that's owned by the power plant. And some of it's owned by private people as well.
So at this point, we don't have any agreements with CSX. We're testing.
We have given them, internally, we have a deadline that we will continue negotiation until that point before we possibly move in a different direction.
When was the last time we talked with them?
I spoke with them about 2 weeks ago. It was the week before I went on vacation. And along the lines of rail trails, there has been put back together a rail trail task force group that is very supportive of the rail trail, that has met in the past month, just to talk about what our visions are, what direction we need to go, and what support even community can give us for these projects.
I don't know about my other two commissioners, but it seems to me we need to get one lead person to handle this and come back and report to us on at least every 2 weeks so that we know what's going on, what kind of money we're going to be involved at, and where we stand. I thought we were trying to buy guys laying down through Stelter, trying to buy USX. Chad's trying to find a way around the power plant. And nobody said anything from downtown Shinston out where we paid. And we have the issue with the bridge where the guy drives across that we've never said. I'm just trying to figure out what direction we're trying to go with our money to purchase land. And where that money's coming from.
Mayor. As for the bridge with the homes that people have on the other side and utilize that bridge, I believe it was just recently, maybe in the past 3 weeks, a design has been given for us to start working on that bridge and replacing it. We're trying to coordinate with the homeowner so we can get it done without them driving over that bridge while we're working on it. We also have done signs in to post there, beware of vehicular traffic like we requested. As for an update of rail trail every 2 weeks, sometimes there's not anything to report every 2 weeks on the rail trail. I mean, CSX, we've been discussing with them for months now, and they get back to us when they get back to us. We'll be happy to do so. There just might not be any information.
It's fine with me. It's just so that we have an update, but again, I'm trying to understand who is actually involved in all these projects to bring the rail trails together as one trail. Who's overseeing that?
For the majority, I would say that I am overseeing that. I'm talking to CSX. Trey helps me with that. We have Chad helping me with the other properties that we are discussing.
I'd like a list of those properties that we don't own and what we think it's going to cost.
Anything further on 16? Hearing none, we will move on to 17. Review, discuss, consider, and approve reimbursement from Harrison County Parks Commission.
I'm sorry, I have no background information on this.
Recall said they'd be reimbursing us on payroll increase. I need to know whether it being reimbursed for the other payroll and everything else that we're presently doing.
I, for one, don't think we can do anything without an agreement in place, so. And I'm not signing anything that has to do with Parks and Rec until there's an agreement. And I'm not voting on anything for Parks and Rec until there's an agreement signed.
Was part of the agreement going to be reimbursement?
I haven't seen an agreement yet. I've talked to the, I've
Well, Susan,
tried,
you can add to the agreement. Which
we
one
have
in
to
the
see
agreement?
the agreement before we can do anything.
Well, whose agreement are we looking at? Theirs or ours?
Well, it's they're preparing, well, their attorneys are preparing an agreement, but they have yet to get it yet, and I was told they would have it this week.
So there isn't anything that we want to make sure is in the agreement.
Well, I believe we will have the right, I think our attorney can look at it.
And we will make sure the payroll is.
I mean, Trey has been involved, if I'm not mistaken, in
Correct. He pretty much has written all the guts for the MOU. It has been given to their
that's right.
attorney to review. I do not know any input from their attorney at this point. But hopefully I'll-
You have a copy of the agreement that's been given to us?
We all do. Trey sent it to me and I distributed it to all of us.
Would you please schedule it so that the three commissioners can discuss that agreement? Maybe do that now or at the next meeting.
Can I wait and see if they actually produce their comments for the agreement?
I'd like to see what we gave them to look at for us to,
Well, you've had it.
we have not sat down and discussed it. I don't.
Well, you could have
understand.
looked at it and got the information you're looking for.
But I don't know if that's the same information you want or that I want. I'm tired of we just get something and say approved. How about we discuss and see what? we
Well,
can do?
I have discussed and reviewed, and I am going to wait until
Who
they
you
come back
discussed
with
it
it. I mean, I haven't discussed the agreement. I just would
just
like to, I haven't discussed the agreement with anybody. I have discussed getting the agreement, their attorney to get the agreement done so we can please move on with this. By the way, this is something that you brought up, so
Brought up 6 months ago
exactly.
and we're still not there.
But you should have brought that up way back when you, I'm not.
Susan, I brought it up
Well, why-
so
but-
many times about when
No,
we're gonna have a
oh.
discussion or. a
No, but why
contract
didn't you
done.
bring it up before 6 months ago with the park board, since you knew that there was a problem? They've been doing it wrong for
I probably
years.
brought it up last year.
It was last September that you brought up about.
But why didn't you bring it up before last September? I just think it's
because-
funny, you're bringing all these things up in the last 2 years. It's just
Well,
simply
I guess
amazing.
I don't know why. the
But I'm
other
glad you
commissioners
are.
didn't.
I don't know why you didn't either.
I mean. why
I mean,
did-
you were
why-
here
why
4
the other
years before you
commissioners
brought it
didn't?
up.
The commissioners here for 20 years.
Well,
Didn't bring it
I
up.
guess they're not as good as you.
Maybe you should
okay.
name them as an issue.
They're no longer here, but if that's an issue, they're an issue. But I'm gonna move on unless we have something to resolve on 17. Okay, hearing none. Number 18, review, discuss, consider bids and contractor and approve new animal control building at existing location. I, for one, am not ready to move on with any other projects until we get the ones that we are working on moving along.
Make a motion to go out for bids. We have 700,000 set aside for it, and it's part of the levy. Mr. Treecost 2 weeks ago said that we had a location down there and to build a new building, and I'm glad to see Mr. Treecost wants to see a new building down there. We have the money. We need to go ahead and go out for bid to see what it's gonna cost to construct a building.
I admit to you, I thought it was Commission President said that she would like to see it in the same location because she was happy with where it was.
Yes, yes,
And
I
as
am,
far as
but I-
David's concerned, if you want to put it out to bid, I'll go ahead and put it out to bid. As long as let's get the project started. We got $700,000. We know exactly what our budget is. Don't spend a penny more. Doesn't matter.
It's all right, but I'm not gonna vote for it, and that's okay.
Yeah,
Because we've got something across the street that we gotta get moving, we gotta do that. Then we've got other projects that we'll probably have to do.
That money was set aside for the building can't be used elsewhere. He said it's been set aside for that.
In my opinion, it would be too premature to go out to bid for this. We're still doing background information. A
Okay.
suggestion was made to talk to the Humane Society about possibly getting some different acreage to work with them. So I mean, there's background things that are happening. And I'd hate to go out for bid and write an RFP when the scope might change.
then I apologize to Madam President. I didn't know that. the
The
administrator
scope
was-
won't change as far as the building goes until you know what the building costs. The development for the land is incidental. Mr. Builder's company can give us an idea and design a building and let us know if we're gonna be able to do it for 400, 500, or 600. And then we might have to find a different place, might not have enough acreage, might not have enough space, might have to move it. But until a building's designed, we don't know what our cost is.
Did you make a motion to go out to bid? Is that what your
Go out to
motion was?
bid to get the building designed.
Okay, motion was made to go out to bid to get a building design. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? No. Motion carried. Okay, number 19, review, discuss, consider award the contract to design and build agriculture center show barn, possible location Shinston, Lost Creek, Salem, Spelder, West Milford, Gore. Current location is the 279 property.
Madam President, unless one of us that voted on the prevailing side brings this up, it's a moot issue right now. It's already been voted on. No action needs to be taken.
What
Unless
action
you or I
was
see
voted on?
so.
Well, we're currently doing the feasibility study,
It's a
or working on getting a feasibility study.
But that's not what this is saying, to go ahead and do a contract for design. It's still the same issue, guys. You don't know what the building's gonna cost, as Mr. Precost said. You could do a feasibility for the use of the property is what that feasibility study's for, not for the actual design of the building.
Madam President, we have already voted that the project would be on 279, yes,
Yes.
in the conversation.
So what's the pleasure on 19?
Unless it's unless you or I decide to move it, it's already been voted on because we were on the prevailing side.
This is, Patsy, this is just, I'm just giving you possible locations for. a
And we've
building.
already told you in a vote, in a democratic process, that we would want it on the 279 side.
And it's listed. I'm just asking you to begin the design work on the building.
And we are, and Madam Administrator is in the process of that. She's also in the process of selling the property, so we can relieve ourselves of some of our debt. Yes or no, Madam Administrator? Okay, thank you.
And once the auction for selling the property.
There has been nothing said yet.
And when are we going to release the bid for feasibility stuff?
That is the next agenda item.
So the next agenda item, okay.
Is there any action to be taken on 19?
No,
I'll make a motion to,
no motion
Award
can be
contract to
made
design
unless it's
the
on
building.
prevailing fate, Mr. Hinkle. There's
Patsy,
no
read
action
the-
that can be
read the-
taken. This is
read
the
the
same
agenda
thing as
item.
you bringing up the Stonewall Jackson statue a second time when Ron
oh
and I
my
voted no.
goodness.
It's the
You're just
exact
full
same
of
thing.
today, aren't
No,
you?
I am full of exactly what we've done in the past that you went along with today. What was good yesterday is also good today, and this is how we did it the last time on prevailing side.
Maybe you should learn to read.
No, maybe when I don't get my way, I just don't add it to the agenda every week until I could try to sway somebody to change their mind.
I don't add it to the agenda every week. You guys just do agenda items and then forget about it for 6 months.
No, we did an agenda item to approve with the location, and we're sticking with it unless Madam President chooses to change her mind, because I am not.
No.
I'm not asking for you to change it.
And we'll move on to 20.
He's asking for a design.
I'm asking for a design. That's it. No location change. I just said possible locations. Maybe after the design's done, maybe there's better locations. That's all. You don't want to know what your design looks like.
We're just gonna make your motion.
My motions to go out for design for the agriculture center.
Okay. Motion to go out to design for agriculture center. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed?
No.
Number 20, review, discuss, consider awarding regional farm recreation facility site use and or disposition study bid. One bid received, and it was opened August 31st at the August 31st, 22 meeting. The only one we had was from Thrasher Engineering.
That is correct.
Motion to award the Thrasher Engineering, Madam President.
A motion's been made to award the bid to Thrasher Engineering. Any discussion?
No surprise.
There is no price because they do not know the scope of what exactly we want.
I thought we sent that out as part of the request.
We
When
can't,
they were supposed to do a feasibility study, I'm kind of confused. Did you all not bid for a feasibility study?
When you go out through the 5 weeks, you cannot ask for pricing of those.
I totally understand that. And you've been picked
So
as the contractor.
So I think that there was a rate sheet that was included.
Yes,
but I
sir.
don't know if I was 100% correct about that. It might not have been. I
Oh,
don't
no.
remember. But, as far as a feasibility study, until we know exactly what type of facility you want,
We're not gonna design one.
we can't,
That's,
we don't know how to price a feasibility study.
well, we just said we didn't want to design the building. So. We're now throwing the building into the feasibility study. That wasn't in the request that went out, that there would be a design build for a building in that MOU or in that request for quote. So it's kind of a sitting there in kind of a limbo. Because if you go ahead and include the building in this with Thrasher, then you did not give everybody else under the money to sign a bill. Trey wrote that up, was for feasibility of the property to be used for this. And what was the best use, whether the best use
So-
was for a barn or for commercial development. Now, Thrasher, can you do that?
Well, I think we can look at the property and determine what's the best way to develop it, yes.
Best use?
I mean, best use is
What
like
the-
Arlington, you know, that's.
So that's what the request was, best use of property.
Well, I think anytime you develop property, you want to develop it the best that you can. Get the most bang for your buck.
Okay, all in favor? Did you make, yeah, you made, all in
I
favor of the
don't know what
motion?
We're voting on, Susan.
They're doing a feasibility study to tell us what the best use of the property is. Am I not
What if
correct?
he comes back and says it's $100,000?
Well,
You know, we don't have a price.
once he comes back with, and we discuss the scope, he can come back with a price and we can reject
And
that
then we
price.
get-
We do not have to accept.
And
it.
then we give him the design that we know we want.
Where's that design?
Well, I believe the Farm Association has an idea, and I think within communications with them, we could come up with something. But again, let's do the feasibility study on the property and get this moving.
I think Fred
If
could,
I may speak, several years ago, whenever we started our organization, we actually have a design of the barn that we have in mind. And so we actually have blueprints already drawn up, and that could be utilized to see how much that would cost.
And we've all
So,
seen those.
Yes,
Yes.
that was presented several years ago.
With,
before
the-
COVID.
and forgive me, I'm not a farmer, with, that included watering stations, et cetera.
Yeah,
Okay,
it
thank
was
you.
basically everything that was needed
Yes.
for a livestock show facility.
Yes. And if one of us hasn't seen that, will you please get that to them so that they're caught up with the other two of us?
Yeah, I can provide that.
Thank you.
thanks, Fred.
Yeah, I can see that we can vote that Thrasher is the designee, and then Thrasher has to come back with price and a description and a contract. You can't award him a contract.
We'll come back with a scope of
Well,
work
Chad, you
with
know
a
we can't
price.
award you a contract today.
No, absolutely. That's the right way to do it, is to develop a scope of work to give you the fees. And if you think that they're in line and acceptable, then a contract can be written. That was
Which was the plan in the
my
beginning?
plan.
Also, based upon today's construction costs, those plans that we made up several years ago might change a little due to what construction cost is today. There's many different ways that a facility can be built. So just keep that in mind.
And Chad, once again, Thrasher Engineering has engineers that work for you all that can help us with that.
Yes.
Okay.
We have architects that can help.
Architects,
Very good.
engineers.
Very
college
good at taking
graduates.
old estimates and modifying them
Correct.
to meet today's prices.
All in favor of Commissioner Treehouse motion, signify by saying aye.
I don't know what
Aye.
Mr. Treehouse motion was.
To move forward with Thrasher coming back with the cost of their study.
The scope of work.
Scope, yeah.
As long as we're not awarding the contract, I'm fine with it.
And then at that time, if we agree with the scope of work and the price, we'll award the contract.
Oh, where did he say contract? So, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 21, review, discuss, consider, and approve parking lots adjacent to the courthouse, potential executive session pursuant to 69A4B9 to consider matters involving or affecting the purchase, sale, or lease of property, advanced construction planning, the investment of public funds, or other matters involving commercial competition, which, if made public, might adversely affect the financial or other interests of the county. And this was previously tabled, potential purchase of parking lots adjacent to the courthouse on August 3rd, 2022.
I'll make a motion not to go into executive session. Ask Madam Administrator, do you have any further information for us for this?
I sent an email with information that they sent to us earlier in the week. You should have done that a couple of days ago. That's pretty much where we stand.
Make the motion that we have staff send a letter out that we're not interested in the purchase.
Motion's been made to send a letter by the staff to the owners that we are not interested in purchasing. Any discussion?
Yes, ma'am, the price that they keeps coming back with is more than what's justifiable. The information that they want for us to spend money and it's not, at this point, if we're gonna do these other projects, the county doesn't need to take on that parking lot. So I think we need to find somebody else that's interested in purchasing.
I mean, I'm torn.
I don't see any reason to kill the open line of communication.
No.
I mean, numbers can change every day,
They haven't changed Patsy.
and they
But
can't.
we've not
But
went
we
back
have-
with anything.
We
That's, I
have
think,
not tried to negotiate or anything.
We said what a number was to make to them 4 weeks ago. Your email said that that number had changed.
Yeah, but I
Did we
don't
not
think,
advise them on
I
that
don't think
price?
she never made it was never, that was never.
We did have a discussion in executive session, but there
Yes.
was no vote
No.
out here to officially say how much money that I could offer. And that's what we need clarification on. In
Then
order-
let's make a motion on how much money you can offer.
Add a number.
Well, let's find out where the money's gonna come from before we defer that number to Madam President. So if you don't mind, could we table this in once more, please?
Where we have a motion on the floor to send,
Motion, yeah, it's just, there's other people that have looked at purchasing it.
there are.
And I hope they buy it, but at
Okay.
the same time, I don't want to kill
I
our
hope you're not talking
our line
about-
of communication. And so let's just let it sit.
I mean, I'm not opposed to sending a letter at this, to telling them at this time.
Okay.
The amount, I mean, come up with a letter and we can take a look at it. Is that fair enough?
And a letter,
Maybe that'll spur them to come down. some. You know, how you word the letter, maybe they can help us with some reason, you come up with something. Okay, we still okay with the motion to send a letter telling them we're not interested at this time at that
get
price?
that price.
Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 22, review, discuss, consider negotiations with railroad, approve potential and approve potential executive sessions 6269A 4B9 to consider matters involving or affecting the purchase, sale, or lease of property, advanced construction planning, the investment of public funds, or other matters involving commercial competition, which, if made public, might adversely affect the financial or other interest of the county.
Have we not discussed this already today?
I was going to say, go ahead and table it for the next meeting.
Okay. Number 23, review, discuss, consider, and approve expenses for rail trail for the balance of fiscal year.
So in the rail trail line item, we this year budgeted $150,000. From that, we have only spent to date $10,119. There is no way to approve future expenditures because we don't know what they will be.
On future projects. Mr. Miller has no projects coming up.
We don't know the prices of them, so it's hard to say, yes, we're going to go ahead and approve this project without the prices going on.
We don't have other money for rail trips.
There are funds that we could use for rail trails. There's grants we've applied for.
And Mr. Miller, can you give us a rough estimate at the next meeting, what you think our expenses will be for the rest of the physical year? On rail trips?
From my perspective, from
Yes,
what
sir.
I will be charging you,
That and what things that you think are gonna fix on?
The bridge. I mean, then you're working on the
we're
bridge.
working hard on the bridge and, yeah, and, I mean, that's hard, David. I mean, you know, like, I was out the other day and I saw a washed out area and I called Danny and he went out and fixed it. And I don't know how you project those types of things, some maintenance issue.
We're just trying to decide, we've got $1.4 million set aside in 2 different accounts, whether or not we're going through that this year, whether that money can be used for purchasing a parking lot or developing something else. So I'm trying to decide if that money needs to sit. So I'm trying to find out what the projected cost, what we've got close to 1.5 million set aside for rail trails, what this commission's intentions are with that 1.5 million in the next
It's the bridge.
9 months.
It's the bridge.
Which bridge?
David, the only bridge we're building is the one that connects Felder to Clarksburg. Let me say it for the record.
So we're
Everybody
spending
on the
any money
record,
the bridge
We are
itself?
building a bridge to connect Spelter and Clarksburg. Mr. Biller and Thrasher Engineering is in the process of doing that. We have set money aside to do that. We also have passed our levy with additional monies that we have and could use should we choose to use it for that. Our goal has always been to build a bridge without to connect that, so that way we're one step closer and we'll be only one break in our rail trail, which would be at Meadowbrook, right, Chad? To have a completed bridge and be part of the P2P. And for the record, for the 50th time, is Pittsburgh to Parkersburg. So we are building one of the 2 bridges. It is in design right now, and our goal is to get there. Now, when this comes up next week, if we need to look at the record, we are connecting Clarksburg to Spelter, which will leave us only one more gap at Meadowbrook. And then we will be part of completing the P2P project, which is Pittsburgh to Parkersburg, which is commerce and economic development ties. And Chad, as soon as, and I call you weekly on it with Laura beside me, I'm as anxious as can be to get the number for that bridge so we know what money to allocate for it so that we can complete that. That is significantly important to me. That's why we call you weekly.
we're working diligently on it. I know it's not fast enough and, our goal is to get it out, Patsy, this year.
Thank you.
Anything further on 23?
Yeah, I'm a little trying to understand what I just heard, that Laura and Patsy and you have been working on building a bridge.
No,
That's what
Laura
you
and
just
I,
said.
no, Laura and I call Chad every week for an update. Just like you can go in Laura's office and get an update on anything you want to.
No, I can't, but that's.
Yeah, you
You
can.
want to go down that
You
road, Patsy?
can. You
Can you not
can,
pick up the
David.
phone?
As
Yeah.
long
No,
as
ma'am, I
Susan,
can't.
as long as Susan's not in the room with me or you're not in the room with me, Laura and I can call anybody in this room and talk about any county business we want to. She is
So
the
how much are
county
you charging
administrator.
us to build this bridge?
Oh, I don't remember what that is off the top of my head.
10,000, 25,000, 50,000,
It's more than that.
more than $50,000. Were we part of that approval?
Well, I do believe we approved
Did you
funds
know
for
that, I
that.
mean, that goes over the requirement that we have to go out for bid? How did we get up? to
We haven't
where
got that far yet.
You just said we were gonna be 50,000 or more
But he
for
is
the
our,
bid,
but
for
he,
the
but he
construction
is our,
design.
but he
He's
is already,
engineering
he's the
the
engineer
bridge.
of record for
Yeah,
us. He's no different than Trey. Trey's bill's gonna be $5 million this year. But we can't control that. We need his legal advice. We need
You know what,
his
guys, I work
professional
with Chad
advice.
as engineer record all the time. I can tell you, I sit on the board that before Chad's told he can go do stuff like that, it's engineer record. Somebody sits down and approves that cost. And Chad, you know we do that at the airport. You guys just don't get to go willy-nilly and come back with a price. And you're sitting there telling me that we're spending money that this commission is not for a bridge. And then you got the nerve to accuse me of stuff, and you're out building bridges.
No, David, let's stop right there.
This is not
Nobody
his
accuses
cost.
you of
This
anything.
is not his call.
You, the only
Just said
person,
it was.
right,
How much is it going, how much is the engineering on the bridge?
I don't remember exactly what that number is, David. I've given all that stuff to Laura and Trey. And they've got all those.
So how much is it, Laura?
Offhand, I do not recall.
It's more than $50,000. I think.
And where's that money coming
For
from?
borings alone, the borings alone.
So we've already done borings, we've already done,
No.
okay.
We're trying to get the right alignment with the right hydraulics to work with the river so that we're not increasing flood elevations. And it's taking us longer to get that.
Well, who's told you to do all this work?
I would like to point out that commission earlier this year, I believe it was March timeframe, made the motion and approved to do the connector from that section. It has been approved in a commission meeting to move forward with the bridge
With no cost.
connected.
And I just heard that because we didn't know cost, we couldn't do something else.
Not with no cost.
No idea what the cost is.
We've done conceptual estimates for it and we provided those to the commission. But has our fees.
To
has
who,
the
to
cost
who
of
in the
bridge.
commission?
That was all presented in the public meeting.
Could you find when that was done?
Okay, you want to drag on number 23 some more?
Well, I think everybody in the room's finding out a lot of stuff that hasn't been publicly noticed.
Oh,
But that's okay.
that's okay. Yeah,
I'm done with 23.
okay. Okay, now, 24, report from farmland preservation.
Right now, we have two farms that are close to being paid for. We have the baselines, we have everything done except for the appraisal. And I was told that we will not get the appraisal until December. And that's gonna cost about $3,000 for both of them. Before we know how much we can pay these people for their farm to be in protection. One of the farms is like 90 acres, and the other one is about 217 acres. We have another farm that we're waiting on for to get a new floodplain map, because with whenever they took the dams out, the maps they did do were wrong. And we pointed that out to them, and so now they have to redo that. And they are supposed to be redoing that, and that would be Fish and Wildlife. So we're waiting on those to get done and to be corrected before we can proceed with his. Because right now part of his farm is in the floodplain. We have another farm that was donated. So that one's pretty much done. And we have two other farms that they have applied, and we need to get a meeting, which I do believe we're gonna have one in a week or two. To get those ranked. Farmland.
What can we do to speed this process up, other than I understand there's an appraisal issue? But this program's been in effect for going on 5 years. And we've done how many farms?
We've had 2 donated, and we're working on the 2 that we will be paying out for.
We need to get somebody that can work with us.
The problem is when you do the baselines and the appraisals, there's only what, 1, maybe 2 people in the state that can do farmland protection appraisals. And he is very backed up.
How many farmland protection boards are there in the state?
I don't know.
They're not in every county, are they?
No. No, but the state does have a program, so I think we need with that as well.
Well, what can we do to, I mean, we're sitting on 1.2 million. We ought to be able to do something to make this process a little faster so that we can make this program work. At this point,
That,
this program
we
is
could.
kind of,
and it's the
Seems
same
like
thing
it's
with the
dead.
baselines. I mean, there's a handful of people in the state that can do these.
is there
It's-
anybody that does this for a living?
They're the ones that do that for a living.
I mean, help as far as getting these programs and work with these people and make sure all this gets done. I mean, they don't have a designated person all the time.
We have,
Do you have time to give what this needs? I guess that's the question.
Levon Payton, and she is with the state, and she comes to every meeting, and she advises and points us in the right direction of what to do and how to do it.
Can this board afford to hire somebody to help them?
What would this person do?
Susan, we're sitting here.
I don't care. You got
Oh.
$1.2 million. I get that, David. I've heard that 3 times.
To help them walk through. and
But,
get
what would
done.
this person do full-time? Are you talking a full-time? I mean,
No,
do they need a
part-time.
person? I mean, do they
Part-time,
need a
yeah.
person?
Man,
Sure.
I would not recommend hiring a person for this. Only because from my observation, the whole time that I have been involved with this board and paying attention, a lot of the holdup is the elevations and the appraisals, correct? So someone who would be part-time would again just be waiting on those. Bill, am I correct on this?
Pretty much the appraisal process, they are private appraisals, but you have to have a certification to do, and we're not buying the farms, it's easements is what we're buying. And what had been discussed in other counties, is there's a person that floats from county to county that sort of pulls the program together and moves things along. They would be part-time and they can only come here and do paperwork and work kind of stuff. That was something that was mentioned by the law that's going on in the state. And
Did she happen to mention how much a county share is?
no,
To pay for that person?
I don't have any idea. It was preliminary and it was just a discussion one day.
But nobody's doing that yet.
Yeah, there is.
Oh, there is?
This doing, it's very knowledgeable in the program. Problem is, will he be willing to even come here. And of course, we would need to look at our income to make sure we could afford it. I don't know what the cost. You know, I mean, we would have to check into that. I mean, I think he goes to like 3 different counties and he just goes one day a week or twice a month and just pulls all the paperwork together. keeps it all together. That's what that discussion is on. Okay.
Just basically,
I can't even remember his name now. I think it's Matt, but he's really involved. But whether he would be willing to come here and work with us, I do not know. And what
does he seem to move things on? I mean, does he
Yeah,
seem,
well, he could help, you know, with organizing the paperwork, keeping things going, but as far as these appraisers, he's not going to be able to make them do that faster. Okay.
I mean, maybe that's something.
I talked with Levon just recently, last Friday it was, and I said, you know, can you ask him, the guys in Buchanan, I said, can you ask him to please at least get the one farm done, the donation, so that we can show that we're doing something. And she said that she would be with him and, you know, in a meeting or something, she's going to try to push him to get that one done. And that's just been our main thing, just there's stuff that's out of our control. You know, Charlotte sends it out and stuff, but just things out of our control. There is such a thing as a part-time person going to county.
But can they get the appraisals done? So,
They can't do the appraisals, but
I mean, could they?
They might have a better relationship with them and get them to
they
understand.
would have
stuff.
the understanding of how the program works.
I think that's something that they, I think that's something that the board should, if they want to do that.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
up to
we
you
can
all.
check into it and bring it back to.
Right.
you.
I mean, it's
Um,
worth looking into.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I just want to see this do what we started out with, and we just,
I think all of us do. It's just COVID hit. Then after that, it just like everything broke loose. I know it took me, my farm was protected on the state level. It took 5 years to get it done, but there was some oil and gas issues, which is what held it up. But really, within a year, we should be able to get those projects and under normal circumstances. And we're all still, you know, learning our jobs. And under normal circumstances, we should be able to complete one thing a year. And it's volunteer work. You want to make sure that landowner understands, because once they do it, it's not reversible. That landowner, you know, so sometimes that
And that
time
takes
gives
a while
them
for them
time
to-
to make sure they understand what they're doing as we go through the steps. But I can ask about, bring it back to
Thank you.
find out what the details are. See if we can afford that, with what's coming in.
Right.
But that would be nice.
Right.
If it is Matt Monroe, he's the one that did our baselines.
I think it is Matt Monroe that's doing that.
Yeah.
Just putting paperwork together. And Mary Robinson's been wonderful to work with.
Yeah, she's pretty backed up too, though.
Yeah.
Okay, anything further with 24?
But I do appreciate the commission's interest.
Are we ready to move on to 25? Review, discuss, consider, and approve report from planning on demolition of homes, state purchase, expected expense.
Well, there's another one that's taking some time. I went and I did purchase 6 properties, $50 a piece. I did finally get paperwork back on it, and I've read through all of it as to what needs to be done. And in it, they highly recommended having an attorney proceed with the rest of it. So I called Laura and said, can you mind if we have Trey do this time? And then me watch and see what he does, learn what he does, and then the next time I can do it. Because you have to do title searches and,
One attorney would have to sign off on the tops.
yes.
They don't give you clear title. You buy it back from the tax office.
It's only a minimum search is what they.
I see you have 6 homes listed, and they have a lot more than that, the original.
Yes, the other 4 aren't available to purchase yet. In the next auction that the state has, those will be available to purchase. And I can't wait because one of them is a huge drug house.
Do we have any other properties for demolition?
No, not right now. We are working on one, trying to get deed to it. And that one I will give to Gina so she can use the $2,500 that she had gotten from the grant. Tear that one down.
So our guys passed their test.
Yes, they did.
That's all I have. Pretty much gonna shoot the 150 budget.
Some of these houses I would guarantee has asbestos. But we can't test until we have the deed.
Okay, number 26, review, discuss, consider, and approve any issues with GSA potential executive session under 69A4B9 to consider matters involving or affecting the purchase, sale, or lease of property, advanced construction planning, the investment of public funds, or other matters involving commercial competition, which is made, if made public, might adversely affect the financial or involving competition or other interest of the county. And this could be under attorney-client privilege, but here,
Executive session.
motion's been made to go into executive session. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed?
No.
No. Okay, number 27.
It was just going to executive session.
Oh, okay.
Still,
Yeah, what do you
consider
want?
approve the issues. I'd like an
I don't know
update
if
on
there's
the
any-
issues with the building.
I do not have an update currently.
What's the last update on this?
The last update Mr. Peterson gave to you, I believe,
From the,
31st.
from the
Change order.
architect.
Yes.
I'd like to know where the architect stands on finishing the building.
I will get that update. I talked to Mr. Peterson later on this afternoon.
Are you talking about ceiling or?
He's
Ceiling.
talking about ceiling.
We don't have anything from ceiling for the last couple of weeks.
We
Don't know
don't
where
have
the
anything, even from
Generator stands.
nothing official, nothing in
You sent
writing.
about the
Yeah.
electric, you sent an email about the battery backup.
I did send an update from the suggestion of the battery backup, and I told you the response for that. Ceiling was here last week. We discussed some of the furniture and different things. I have not talked to anyone from ceiling since that day.
So what's going on with the furniture?
Working, to try to work through it, do the holes, make everything work. My understanding.
The design, the walls to put power, computer.
Cables.
Yep.
They're trying to figure out a way for the cubicles to drill holes. to
There's
make sure
still
the
desks
doors are-
without holes.
Mhm.
So there are issues.
Yes,
but we're not gonna talk about.
Well, what are you gonna do about it? We're waiting for the architects to get back. They're working on it. I mean, they met with Charlie. I believe Charlie met with them.
There are issues we have discussed previously. There's no new issues to add, and I do not have an update for those issues to add.
Are the issues being taken care of, is that come up?
We are trying to work through them, yes.
Why did we, according to Commissioner Tree, cost by junk furniture?
Because we're having to drill our own holes.
Somebody approved that.
It's sawdust, David, it's no wood.
Was that brought to our attention when we approved purchase of the furniture? What we buy?
I don't, know. Who approved that?
It was put in front of commission. They did not give the specifics that it is.
For the furniture.
That was the day we didn't have any choice but to vote on it because the price was down.
Correct.
Anything further on 26? 27, review, discuss, consider, and approve hiring a company to look at jail annex cost to fix versus imploding.
Well, we can't implode it because we have to have the jail. And as far as imploding it, and as far as cost to fix it, that was brought up $30 billion ago and voted against. So we have as stated, piece of property that is unsafe, potentially, even though I never thought it was. And we have to look at tearing it down to the jail brick by brick, not implode it. So if we're gonna fix it, that should have been,
That building's never been maintained, probably since it was built.
right.
None of our properties have them.
Now we're paying the price.
Yep.
Anything further on 27?
I'm not sure what we're saying. Are we gonna go out for bid to look at what it costs to?
I'm not doing anything until we figure, the building is not, as far as I'm concerned, I don't believe it's unsafe.
No,
I think it's
the
structurally
structural
sound.
support,
It's-
I mean, do we maybe need to get some weight out of it? Probably. We have plenty of storage space to do that, so we could work on getting that out of there.
in different buildings.
I believe we have to have a holding cell somewhere. So if you include, you'd have to build a holding cell. for Prisoners, when they come to court. But I, for one, am not for doing anything at this point other than maintaining the building. I mean, that's the problem. The roof leaks. These things need to be fixed. I don't think the building,
I can't believe we're discussing.
at this point, I don't either.
I can't believe it's even on the agenda item. Madam President, I want to apologize. I have 11:30 appointment. I pitched you a message.
Anything further on number 27? Please note that Commissioner Costa has left a bit. Left the room. Hearing nothing for 27, we can move on to 28. Review, discuss, consider, and approve hiring a full-time attorney for HR issues, planning, and contracts. I believe the attorney we have handles,
Madam President, I'll make a motion 28 through 35 or 4 be tabled till all commissioners can be present.
I don't think 34 needs to be taken care of.
32.
Yes, 32, 33 probably needs to be.
We can table 28. 29 is already in the works. We can table and have discussion next time. 30, so it's already been talked about, so we can table it. 31. We can table till next time. 32, we need to address. 33, 34, and
Okay, the motion was made to table 28 through 34. All in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed, no. So we're still on 28.
as for 28, the only comments I have towards that is this was voted on earlier in the year around budget time, and the vote was to keep Trey for this fiscal year.
We voted to go out without going out for bid. $250 an hour. And you could have somebody in-house doing work. It's insane that we're doing this. I'm not bringing somebody in, we have nobody to handle any of this stuff in-house. Where we sit today, we've been discussing contracts with potential and have not had an attorney present.
Anything further on 28?
Move to approve to go out for to hire in-house counsel for HR issues.
Motion's been made to approve going out to bid to hire an attorney for HR issues. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
President, it seems that the rest of the meeting will go that way. I make a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. You leaving?
Yes, ma'am, I have an appointment I have to keep.
Commissioner Hinkle, I really need a couple of these addressed, please.
I guess you should have that conversation with the other commissioner who's allowed to be.
Okay, I guess our meeting is over. John, I'm sorry, but your co-workers, if I could approve them, I would. I know there's a deadline for that. So, sorry, everybody. Here I am again, left by myself. Everybody remembers that in November. Yep, cut it off.